All right, so I think we are good to get started. So for everyone who is tuning in, welcome to page 8. This is a podcast we're starting. Joining me is Aaron. Say hi, Aaron.
Hello.
And then also Bailey.
Hi.
So we are all YouTubers. I'm sure people who are subscribed to me know that already. At least I hope so. But Aaron and Bailey both have channels as well. The links to them are in the description of the video right now, so if you want to check them out, I highly recommend it. They're awesome people. But yeah, they're joining me for this podcast today. So to kind of start things off, hi Casey, biggest fan. That's awesome. But to start things off, I just want to say yes. Are you looking for the chat?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, the chat should be either on the bottom or on the right. But anyway, so.
Okay.
You good? You got it? Okay. Alright, anyway, so like I said, we all upload videos on YouTube. Aaron and Bailey both upload gaming videos. Aaron, you're starting up a second channel, right, for vlogging and other stuff, so...
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so Aaron, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do on YouTube?
Oh, well, I'm 16, I work at Subway, and I do gaming videos on my channel, which is in the description below. Subscribe to me. I'm just kidding. Don't, seriously. But anyway, yeah, I work at Subway. I'm in 10th grade, and yeah, I just kind of, chill out and go with life. I do what my parents tell me to do. I'm a good kid. And, yeah. Hey, how about you go, Bailey? Tell us about yourself.
Hi,
That sounds
I'm
like me in
Bailey.
high school.
I have a YouTube channel called BailesMC because I'm uncreative with usernames. I do weird gaming videos, vlogs that are very pointless, and I do that. And I also stream now, I guess. So yeah.
She's actually pretty awesome on Twitch. Her very late night streams, but they're worth staying up for, so I will
I like
say
your
that.
headphones. It's my favorite color.
Red?
I like
Yeah.
the green ones that you have. Are those the Razer? Or?
Yeah, they're razors. Yeah.
Yeah, those are nice.
I have
Okay.
green razors.
Really? I
Yeah,
used to have... The only actual gaming headset I ever had was the actual, the one that came with the Xbox One. Not the one that came with it, but, the Xbox brand of headphones. But those things are so
Oh,
cheap.
yeah, like the...
3 out of 10
the
would not
thingy that
recommend.
it
They
has
break
one
super
of
easy.
them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty bad. So, but anyway, so our podcast is called Page 8. So what are we going to be doing here? Well, it's going to be a show that's going to air once a month, or at least the plan is once a month right now. If possible, or if time allows, and we're all in different schedules, different time zones. But if possible, there's a chance that we might do some special episodes every 2 weeks or so. But in general, the show is going to air usually once a month at the beginning of the month. So this is going to be our September show, even though it's technically August 31st. But this is our September show. So we want it to be centered around discussion, opinion, kind of on current events, things that are interesting and trending. The thing we don't want is for it to be a news show. That we absolutely don't want it to be some boring thing that you see on CNN or something. It's more about talking and sharing your opinions on things that are going on in the internet around the world, and we want to create a fun and entertaining discussion for not only for ourselves but for you guys watching. And that's the thing, we want to be super interactive with you guys. So if you guys are watching, you guys can see the live chat either on the bottom of your screen on mobile or on the right side if you're on desktop. So whatever we're talking about, we encourage you to leave questions, put in your own feedback, input. That's always appreciated, and it just helps the discussion. So like I said, you can expect one show at the beginning of each month, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and that's the basic premise of the show. So for the idea, we're calling it Page 8, and this is something I actually came up with really, really recently. And the name came up because, like you said, we don't want it to be a giant news show. We want it to be something that's more around cool and interesting stuff. Not something you'd see on the front page of a newspaper, but it'd be more along the lines of some cool article you find on page 8 in the newspaper, if that makes any sense. So that's where the name came from. And this came up weeks ago, the idea for the show, and it's because we're always looking for ways to innovate. That's why as content creators on YouTube, Bailey and Aaron, we're always coming up with new ideas, new videos, new series, right? So this podcast is a way for us to do that. It lets us get in touch with our audiences, and I think it just creates a different atmosphere, something that's different. You don't see a lot on YouTube. So So that's kind of the
That
basic
was
premise of the
very
show.
Nicely put, Nitro.
Thank you.
You must have
Round of
practiced.
applause.
Unless you're just a flawless
You are
speaker.
a flawless human being.
Flawless human being. I don't know about that, but but anyway, there's a lot going on right now that could be talked about though in podcasts like this, whether it be
There
like
always is.
yeah, it could be major events, sports, politics. So, and I think for young
We can do
people,
this till the day we die.
yeah, for young people though, there's not a lot of outlets out there that you can use to actually like have discussions about this and talk about. You know, and there's people that have Twitter fights and things like that, but does anything really like come out of that? Not really, right?
I hate those.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
sites like Reddit too that do the same thing. And you make an account, you can post and comment on threads, but there's a very few places to openly discuss these kinds of things. You know, there's a lot of internet censorship, especially on Reddit. That's like the big thing right now on Reddit is that the admins and moderators are trying to like cut down on offensive content. You know, so and we want to create something that's completely different than that with this podcast. So that's our goal for this. We want to, share our thoughts and opinions on not only like major events, but also just like the small, interesting, niche stories that you might find online. So yeah.
That was flawless too.
Thank you.
No, but yeah, so we
Yeah,
do.
go ahead.
I saw our topic for today, but we have two topics actually, right?
Well, actually, we do kind of have like something new at the end. This is what I was. I don't know if you remember. I told you about like the horror film thing.
Yeah,
But
how
that's
the
something.
guy-
Yeah, that's something a little
He
bit newer
changed
than.
history.
But
Yeah.
yeah, this is supposed to be a regular thing on the channel. So, but yeah, so I guess to kind of start things off with our first little story. Once again, anything that we're talking about, feel free to let us know in chat. Your opinions, your thoughts. It's always welcome. We'll just add to the discussion. So, but yeah, with that said, let's get started. So, our first kind of like story here comes from Reddit. Actually, this came out kind of like mid-August, beginning to mid-August. A user on Reddit posted on a forum claiming that her job was literally to go online and say good things about political candidates. It was some office job. It was, obviously public relations. Her job was to come in, browse social media for discussions about whichever politician was paying her at the time. And her job was to find any articles, discussions, forums about this person. And whenever she found something negative that someone was saying about it, she had a list of, okay, if someone says this, I need to respond to this to make him look good. So they have literal scripts made by these politicians and their PR people, and the post got nearly like 4,000 upvotes, a ton of publicity, and it stirred argument about the validity of what you're seeing online and on social media. But the thing is, the post and the account, the whole story was fake, and it got removed by the mods. But it still raises the question of like, could something like this actually be happening, and where could it be happening, and who else could be using people like this, if that makes sense. So what do you guys think?
Well, first of all, I think I've seen stuff like that on YouTube. And you can always tell it's fake. Like, it's someone doing self-promotion, but it's really obvious if it's self-promotion. It's not as obvious if it's for another person. Like, you'll go into YouTube comments and see someone go like, oh my god, you remind me of this person. This person's so good, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I kind of have seen that on YouTube.
That's
You can
true.
always tell it's fake. I don't
Yeah,
know how good this
yeah.
lady is at her job.
That's true. Apparently, from what she says, like, she's good at her job. Obviously, it was
Good at
fake.
Making it look real.
Yeah, and if it's fake,
Well,
then
yeah,
you're gonna say
because
whatever you
It's
want.
in the news now, so yeah, I could easily make another channel and just self-promote myself.
Oh yeah,
I
well,
think
like
I did it before, like in 2012, for my old vlogging channel. But
I remember what I actually do. Totally guilty, 100% on my videos is like as soon as I post a video and I check it to see if it's like uploaded and everything like that. Once it goes live, it's like, oh, like, and then my video has 1 like to start with. And the thing is, like, there's been studies that say, oh, if you see something for the first time and see that people are reacting positively to it, then you're more likely to react in a positive way. And if you see something starting off with people reacting to it negatively, then you're more likely to react to it negatively as well. So it's those little things that, like, something as simple as like me liking my own video, there's a bigger chance of more people seeing it and liking it as well. You know, to give an example.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, if you look at a video and it's got like half dislikes, it's like, okay, so what is wrong with this video?
Yeah.
Automatically, that's your first thought, is like, what's wrong with this?
Exactly. I saw a video yesterday. It was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he was making some comments about how like people who watch other people game, and it like doesn't make any sense. And he, from his point of view, and for an adult, it was a good argument and it made sense. But on YouTube, if you look at the video on YouTube, the video has like 36,000 dislikes and like less than 1,000 likes, because people are going on YouTube and they see like, oh, he's talking bad about YouTube, so people start disliking it, and people just go on the video and automatically dislike it without even watching it. And that video is getting so much hate. Exactly, yeah. Oh man, Friday, that's oof.
I do that to like Instagram and Facebook photos. Except I wait till it like goes to like numerals instead of individual names, and then they don't notice.
Yeah, like if I do the same thing with my posts. If I see I have like 10 likes on Instagram, I'm that 11th like a lot of the time.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that it's a number.
I usually do it at like 12, just in case like somebody dislikes it because you know
No.
something bad happens or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand. I think everybody does it. It's the matter if you get caught or not.
That's true. That's true. I definitely
yeah.
think that stuff like that does exist out there. I don't know about in a political sense, if politicians are actually doing it. I guess it kind of makes sense. It's not illegal in any way. You're paying someone to essentially do PR and advertise for you, you know? We do that all the time with TV commercials for politicians, you know? So, it's not illegal in any way. It's just not necessarily a very honest thing to do. You know, you're paying someone to say, this guy is awesome. So...
Well, yeah, there's a big difference with doing it like with your own profile or promoting business or something like that. So
that's true. Yeah.
What she did was wrong. What we did is okay.
It's relative. It's relative.
Yeah.
If anything, it's just not as bad. But even though like the story is fake. This didn't actually happen, at least not in this scenario. If it's actually happening in other places, then okay. But this story was faked, yet it's still getting thousands of upvotes. People are believing it. Why do you think something like that is so believable?
Oh my god, that's such a tough question. All I can think of is whenever you see a YouTube ad over a video, over and over and over again, like it comes up like 10 times in a row, and it's someone's
most annoying thing ever.
Homemade channel trailer. They just get so many subscribers from it or something like that, even though they're paying for it to be added. It's not necessarily good. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, well, you're essentially like paying for subscribers, or in this case politically, you're paying for supporters, if that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I don't like that for some reason.
That's true.
Whatever she was doing.
Yeah.
Obviously it makes sense for like YouTube to self-promote yourself, but to get paid to lie?
That's true.
Now let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
If you had the opportunity to do it for free, okay, well not for free, but you had enough money to pay somebody to do it in the same situation that person was, well, those two people, would you do it?
For subscribers, or are you talking about if I'm running for office?
If you were running for office, like, would you do it if you saw that, like, you were right there? Like, okay, so here's the two people. Obviously, it's more than two people, but here's two people. And you're like this guy. You're, like, right there. If you just got, like, 14 or 100 more, you'd win. Would you do that?
If it's honestly for political, you're running for an office, you know, it's not a game where it's like, okay, I lose, I guess that's it. And people, it's politics. People want to win, and
that turns you evil. Like, you do really evil things. So, yeah, I think, okay, well, I'll go first as to if I would or wouldn't. I think if I was that close, I would. I know that's terrible of me saying, and I'm probably...
It is a terrible thing, but at the end of the day, that's...
hate for that, but I mean,
that's just
14 votes.
Politics, yeah. If you're close, then...
That article that you read, or where did you get that from?
The actual story was a post on Reddit. I actually saw the post, and I was like, wow, this is actually happening.
Like,
and the next day, it was removed.
Did it give you the numbers?
No, there's no numbers. No number
Are you
stuff.
Oh,
spending
okay, so
money
then we don't
from
know
your
if it
own
was-
pocket to do this, to bump you up from your own pocket?
I would imagine so.
Well, when I'm in office, I won't have to worry about the money because I'll be making that dough. So.
That is true. I would
but
say in this
seriously-
situation,
seriously
yeah.
though, like if it was a small amount of votes and it got me to win, I think I honestly don't know. What would you do?
I totally agree.
Anthony?
I totally
You would
agree.
too?
Like, I'm running for
What would you
office,
do?
and yeah, it's something that you need to win. Otherwise, what's the whole point of even running? And if it means spending a little bit of money to get that extra edge, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm officially an evil politician. That, yeah,
I think that's what everyone else does.
yeah.
Might as well play
What would
the
you do,
game.
Bailey?
If it was out of my own pocket, I would feel less guilty about doing that. But if I were using like other people's money from like charities or something, and I
Like the government?
physically wasn't as good of a politician, like I would feel sort of shitty for doing that. It's like, ugh,
That's true.
just bought
Yeah.
away
I
and
think
don't-
anybody would.
Yeah.
So I guess the final question for that would be like, could this actually make a difference in elections? Or, I mean, obviously we don't know what kind of politician or what office this is, but
It
do you think
totally
this could make a
does.
difference?
It totally does, man.
Yes.
I
You
I
know
think
why
so.
people?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk politics very deeply,
Yeah.
but people my generation and your generation, Nitro and Aaron, like Hillary Clinton. Okay, we just know the name. And
Yeah,
that's,
that
I
is
feel
true.
like why she's so popular is because people talk.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't know what she does. Like I don't know anything about politics. I just know the name.
Isn't she
so
like
that's-
I don't know. She's like a...
She used to be
She ran for
Secretary of State.
president?
Well, she
Yeah,
ran
she
against
ran for
Obama.
president or something.
Yeah, and then
She
he
lost.
chose her as his Is it Secretary of State that she was? I believe so, right?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think so too. And then obviously everyone
what
knows
Google
Bill. Everyone knows Bill Clinton. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess moral of the story, lesson of the day: politics are evil. So, so I guess the next kind of story that we should bring up is this is one of my personal favorites, at least for this show. It's about Google's self-driving cars, something that was always like really interesting to me, and
Ooh, yeah.
and also, same thing, earlier this month I read this article, and Google put this out saying that their self-driving cars are, quote, being hit surprisingly often by other drivers who are distracted and not paying attention to the road, end quote. So, in this article, they tell us the story of one of the cars that got into an accident. So, it was coming up to a red light, and the light turned green, but the cars in front of it hadn't started moving yet. And so, obviously, you want to stop until, the other cars in front of you move, and it's time to go. But because the self-driving car stopped, it got rear-ended by someone who wasn't paying attention, and he just smashed into the back of the car. And so they had the technology to recreate the accident. Obviously, the car is super teched out, and so they recreate the accident, showing that the guy, they even know what speed every car is going at the moment that the accident happened. They know there are cars on the other side of the intersection, to the left
So
of it.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool technology. They even have a video. I'll link it in the podcast once this goes up on
Sensors.
YouTube. Yeah, and they said the driver was going 17 miles an hour when he hit it. So he was obviously going slow, but that's still pretty damn fast to hit a car. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and so they're saying essentially that their self-driving cars are better than human drivers. They said out of all the crashes since the project started, and this project started back in 2009, so it's 6 years now on the road, not one accident has been the fault of the self-driving car.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
and they're saying obviously it's hard to calculate the number of crashes per miles driven, but based on what they've seen and the data that they've collected, they hypothesize that it's a lot higher than they thought. There are accidents that go unreported because they're minor fender benders, but essentially what they're trying to say is we're bad drivers. So,
Yeah, well...
go ahead.
What I want to know is, I don't think I've ever actually seen one of these. I think I told you this before. I was like, I don't think I've seen them. They've been around for 6 years. What? But do they seem derpy or something? Seem really robotic on the road? And does it throw people off or something? Is that
I don't know.
People's faults?
I'm not sure. That's a good question, because technically, if you get rear-ended, let's say there's someone driving behind you and you just slam on the brakes for no reason, it's still
Yeah.
the person who hit you, their fault, because they weren't driving at a safe distance. So you could
Yeah.
be a stupid driver and it'd still be their fault. So I guess it would be interesting to see the actual case by case of each accident. but I haven't actually seen like a car on the road. I know there's a lot in California where I'm at. Like I know there's one in Mountain View for sure. They have like a center there where they drive around, and that's actually where one of the accidents happened. But I'm not sure exactly where or how many there are.
Someone was viewing the mountains.
That's the name of the city, Mountain View. Mountain View is a city in California. But I guess the question, like, obviously, like, Bailey, you said you didn't know that these things even existed, right?
Yeah.
Aaron, did you know that, like, these existed? Or, like, what did you know about this before?
I've never actually seen one, but I know they exist.
Yeah, that's
They're
pretty
like
much...
robots
yeah.
on wheels.
Well, from the picture, it actually just looks like a regular, like, white car, and it has, like, a little black... It looks like a camera on top. I guess it's like a sensor. And that's literally...
Yeah,
that's all I
it.
knew.
It looks like a...
Yeah,
looks
it's just
like
a regular car.
lunchbox, sort of. Wait, it's loading, but I'm trying to see what this thing looks like.
Okay. Well, it just looks like a normal car. It doesn't have big antennas sticking out or anything like that.
Are you seeing the picture right now?
No, I'm not. It's just on your screen. I think your volume's a little loud, by the way, Aaron. But anyway, I guess one thing we want to like start with is now that like these cars are out on the streets, and obviously we didn't know about them before. At least Bailey didn't know about them at all. But how would you feel like driving in a city where that's full of these self-driving cars? Do you feel safer, or like how would you feel driving next to one?
Do they detect jaywalkers? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I mean, it has sensors, so I'm sure it detects when something's in front of it. At least I would imagine. Like, me personally, I would feel really weird driving next to, or at least, like, even behind a car that no human is driving it. But at the same time, if they're saying these things are so much safer and they have all this evidence to prove it, like, I'm a see it to believe it kind of guy. So I think once I see that, hey, this car looks like it's, like, driving really safely and it's not going to hit me, then I think I'd feel okay with it.
Also, do you know if you're sitting in the self-driving car, if you can actually manually drive it yourself sometimes?
Yes. In fact, by law, there has to be someone in the driver's seat just in case it malfunctions. So all the cars have drivers in them. They just don't touch them because things don't go wrong with them.
Okay.
but most of the time they are just driving on their own. But in emergencies, there's the backup.
Are you allowed
so.
to text and drive in a self-driving car?
Yes, actually, because you're not controlling the vehicle, you are allowed to text. You can be drunk in the car, but the moment
the only reason I'll get one is so I can drink and text at the same time.
But the thing is here's the catch. The moment you touch the wheel while you're intoxicated, you're drinking and driving, and that's a DUI if you're caught. So you cannot touch the wheel. So, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the law is. I'm sure this is something that hasn't been talked about much in the courts because it's something so new. But then the thing is, like, what should the regulations be? Should we regulate this like crazy where you still shouldn't be drinking or texting or distracted? Or do you think it's safe enough? Yeah.
I think that you shouldn't be able to drive over the alcohol limit like a normal person, no matter what car you're sitting in or not driving at all.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So then I guess the other thing is, like, obviously driving next to it, you know, you feel pretty okay with it. Inside as a passenger, I would imagine it's much safer, right? It should have all the same standard safety features and everything. Like, let's think of service like Uber, where you pay, you know, just like Uber, you call and then a driver comes to you, picks you up, takes you where you want to go. Would you be okay with riding in, like, an Uber service of self-driving cars?
I would actually, because that's sort of what I fear. I've never actually been in a taxi, but I know you can totally like get the app, call Uber, and have them pick you up. But I don't want to do that as like being a female on my own, calling someone to pick me up. That just sounds like shady. And, I would never want to work for a taxi company, just be a female by myself driving. I don't know. I just feel so uncomfortable with that thought. But if it was a Uber, or what's it called, a self-driving car, I would feel so much better if there was no one in the front. Like, it was just the car.
That's true, I guess. Well, see, I used to, before I had my car, I used Uber all the time. Never had a problem with it.
Really?
All my drivers were great. They were pretty safe. Actually, there's one guy that was, like, trying to, like, touch the map on his phone while he was driving. That was a little shady, but for the most part, my experience has been fine.
You would get people stealing those cars if there's no driver in them.
That is true. That's true. That's another thing you'd have to think about. Also, we have a comment from Sydney Johnson. I think this was a couple of minutes ago. We might have missed it. Random off-topic question. Would you guys ever do a meet and greet maybe in the future? The thing with that is we're all in different time zones. I'm in California. Aaron, you're in Illinois, right?
I'm in Indiana, but I'm
Indiana.
Like right
You're on the border, right?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bailey, you're in Georgia?
Yeah, I'm in Georgia.
Oh, yeah. A meet and greet would take some time and money to do. But, I mean, it's
Wait,
possible
you're
in the
right in
future.
Georgia?
You two are
I'm from
closer to
Georgia.
each other.
Yeah.
You know what? I live with my dad during the summer, and I actually live like southern Tennessee.
Really?
Is that close?
What part
Yeah.
of Tennessee? I go to there all the time.
Murfreesboro. You know Murfreesboro?
No.
How about Jacksonville?
I've heard of
It's
that.
seriously
I go
like-
to Chattanooga all the time. That's in southern.
It's like 45 minutes south of Nashville, like right under it. It's a straight line.
Oh, okay, so we'd probably be about 2 or 3 hours away from Chattanooga.
Anthony, so we just need to get you to fly
Yeah.
to Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally going to fly to Tennessee
Go
now.
to a Cracker
It's only going to be
Barrel.
like a $700 plane ticket.
Oh, yeah. That's totally fine. Totally fine. Also, Jack says that the cars aren't all weird robots. There's actually Lexuses and Priuses that are self-driving as well that exist out there. So that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that. I totally Uber, Lexus, self-driving. I'm totally okay with that. So I guess the next thing is that now that we know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Comment, sorry.
Oh yeah, riding as a girl in the passenger seat.
Also, Jax is Alex.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Hi, Alex. So now that we know that this technology actually like exists and apparently it functions properly and works well, in the next 5-10 years, where could you see this going?
Well, don't they already do that with airplanes?
Self-driving? Well, I guess there's the
Automatic
autopilot,
pilot.
right?
Like, all...
Yeah.
Autopilot.
I mean-
How does that work?
I don't know.
Well,
But
it like
as far
stays
as-
at a constant, what do you call it? Altitude for, like, and it goes straight. Like,
Oh,
okay, so basically, like,
sense.
pilots draw it out on the map, and then
Mhm.
they tell it what altitude it wants to stay at, and it just follows the path.
Oh, I see. That's actually really cool. I didn't know how that worked. I'm terrified of planes. I'll let you guys know right now. I've never been on a plane. Planes terrify me.
Yeah.
Except I always wonder, like, what happens after the plane reaches the end of that path, and there's nobody
Oh,
in the
yeah.
cockpit. It just starts going...
I would imagine. I don't know. That's interesting.
I think it would just keep on... I think it just stays there, and it starts going straight until you manually, like,
Probably.
take it
There's
yourself.
a
But
beep or something that lets them know.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
Beep.
something.
You're gonna crash.
But as
So
far as
yeah,
your
that'd be
question,
unfortunate
though,
if there was
um,
nobody in there.
go ahead.
I don't see these smart cars honestly taking over in the next 10 years. Because think about electric cars in general. Those haven't.
That's true,
Those
huh?
have been around forever, and hardly anyone has adapted to those.
That's true, huh? I honestly have seen, I'm sure, less than 20 electric cars, like, ever. So, and those are just like, what, the Nissan Leaf, and then
I've
there's
seen
some
Leafs.
Toyota.
We have Leafs over here.
Okay,
They're
but I've seen very few of those. And then on top of that, I've only seen one charging station ever, and it's like in the Old Town, surprisingly, of Covenum, of the city where I live. It's like in the Old Town area, in some parking garage, there's like one parking spot to charge your electric car, and that's it.
I've never seen one in my
One
life.
of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a parking space in a parking garage, and there's something you just like plug into the hood of your car, and it charges it. So
I always
leave
thought you
there
did it
for
at
an
your
hour,
house
so.
or something.
You know-
like, found
you
it
could.
out.
Do you have like
I
an
think.
estimate of how long it takes to charge it?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about electric cars, to be
You don't
honest.
know?
yeah, not sure.
I bet Alex would know.
So obviously, it's not just limited to cars. Then these like self-driving things. So for other transport vehicles, you have airplanes, choppers. I could imagine bus services, because buses go on a line. Like buses follow this one path and it never changes. I could see buses eventually being self-driving. And do you think that would be more difficult to get, like maybe just a plane that doesn't have a pilot at all? Do you see that as a possibility?
I would ride
No.
that plane.
I wouldn't ride that plane. Yeah, there would be one, but I would not be on it, so I don't care.
Yeah, that's getting to a little more like controversy type thing. So I guess for the controversy, people have compared like the self-driving cars and people who criticize it say, oh, it's just like how people are using drones now, and people are going to have all these vehicles and gadgets and devices in the air, and it's going to be horrible for privacy. Do you think these like self-piloting cars and vehicles, it's like we talked about the regulation before, how far do you think go before people start saying, hey, we need to stop this?
Unless like you can tell me a reason, I can't off the top of my head think of how these invade your privacy.
That's true.
Driving you around.
Yeah, for cars, I don't see a problem. The only thing I would think is like when you get to like pilotless airplanes, then I think that would be like a big no-no. Number one, for safety, and then number two, just like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah, I guess that's true. I guess I'm trying to think of how people say, oh, these are just going to turn into robots and drones that control everyone.
Actually, I guess if you just think of that one type of person that wants to stay off the grid, doesn't want their phone number given out, if these cars could potentially track your patterns of where you drive, that information would be logged into a system, and I'm sure there's at least one person out there who does not want that. So it's that
That's
person
true.
who's complaining.
That's true. That one person will get a petition with the whole 12 signatures, and then there you go.
This car knows where I live.
That's true. I guess the other thing for safety then is you have, if these cars supposedly eventually let's say they don't have someone in the driver's seat and it's just a self-driving car, do you think it's possible for someone, maybe a hacker, to take control of the car and maybe cause it, control it remotely?
Oh my gosh.
Do you think that could be a possibility?
I'm not getting one now. Thanks. You just ruined it.
I mean, it is technology, and I don't know exactly what wireless, features and devices it has inside of it, but it does raise that question, though, of safety. Could someone take control of this and potentially cause harm?
Oh my gosh. I'm actually in a high school class called Current
cyber-terrorism.
Problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in a high school class called Current Problems, and we actually talked about how these college kids hacked a Nissan. It drove itself, but they hacked it, and they could move it back and forth and everything. I have the article
weird,
to it
but
somewhere.
cool.
It's in my docs.
Huh.
So it's already happened, guys, and we're not even doing it all the time. So
it definitely is a possibility. You have to.
I just ruined it for you too.
Well, you have to think about then. Obviously, it's a computer at the end of the day inside the car, and computers
you have to
need
have,
security.
An antivirus system on your car.
Exactly. You need some sort of firewall, some sort of security to make sure that's protected. So for these companies that are making, like Google, that are making these cars, I think a big part of it is going to have to be making sure that they're safe, and there's not going to be people that do things like this.
So in 20 years, there's going to be a Macintosh car.
Yeah, that would be cool. Hey, Macs don't
Do you
get
have to worry
viruses.
about viruses on your laptop?
My Mac,
On
I've
your
never had a
Mac?
problem. I've never had a problem on my Mac.
Because
Windows,
know
I have
that
problems all the
Macs
time.
are good. Well, yeah, but I know Apple is good. Especially their phones are good without getting viruses. So what if it was an Apple car? Then I wouldn't worry about it.
I actually don't I hear that being said all the time that Apple products don't get viruses, but I don't know how true that is. I think that's just something that people say, but then again, I've never had a problem with it, so I can't speak for that. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to do my research before I go out and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on one.
So overall, would you say that these self-driving cars in the future will have a more positive impact or negative impact on people on the road and in the air?
Positive.
Positive?
Positive.
I think so
Especially
too.
for the disabled who can't drive. That's good.
That's
Oh,
actually I didn't even
thought
think
that
about
too.
that.
I meant to ask, do you think you can you could buy and get your license for a self-driving car if you're blind?
That's interesting. I would imagine because you still need to know how to start and stop the car. But that's actually really interesting because I would imagine I would imagine the way that it works is that you put in the address of the destination and it'll get you there. It uses Google Maps and then the car's okay, go this way. But I don't know if blind people necessarily will be able to get a license, but I still think if you're disabled that it's still a possibility for sure.
Yeah.
So overall, self-driving cars, probably a good thing, huh?
Especially
Definitely.
since they don't cause accidents, since the
Yeah,
past you
and
said.
yeah, they're from what Google is reporting, they're very safe, and it's just the humans that are stupid and can't drive. So, which I agree with. Actually, I backed out of my driveway today to go to school, and I totally ran over my mom's plants. So,
Good job. I don't
you.
expect anything different out of you.
You haven't even seen me drive, Aaron.
No, I know. I know. I get Snapchats from you. It's just the
That's true.
music you like.
The music I
I mean,
like.
I like the music. What song were you playing? Well, don't say it because it's copyrighted. But I mean, like,
I can say the
do
name
you
of the
remember what
song.
song that was?
I can't feel my
I can't
face.
feel my something.
Yeah, that's The
Stop,
Weeknd.
Stop.
I'm allowed to say it.
Stop. Okay, fine. You can say it. No, but really, yeah, I like that song.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so
Hey,
I
we're
guess
off topic.
we are, but that's okay. So I guess the final topic thing that I wanted to touch upon was actually just horror films and scary movies. I don't know how many of you guys saw this. I told Bailey about this already. Oh, actually, hold on. We have a comment from Alex. Saw a thing when self-driving cars were coming out of a blind guy who rode in a self-driving car through a Taco Bell drive-thru. That's really cool. Taco Bell
That's the place to
drive-thru.
go.
I think that's
Adele?
probably the first place we would go if we had a self-driving car would be Taco Bell. But yeah, anyway, so horror movies. I saw yesterday that Wes Craven died, or he passed away yesterday, August 30th. For those of you watching that don't know who Wes Craven is, he is a director, he's a writer, producer, he's an actor, and he directed movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, the Scream movies, The Hills Have Eyes. He basically specialized in slasher films. So, and personally, I was never a fan of the slasher genre, like Halloween. I thought they were okay, but it's not my type of movie. And obviously, when someone who creates something that's such a classic leaves us, it sucks. It's something that we're not going to get anymore. Like last year, with Robin Williams dying, that affected so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, I kind of wanted to talk about the horror genre in general. Because obviously these movies came out in the 80s and 90s. Movies are different now. Have you seen any of the movies? Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, any of that?
I have
I
not.
think I saw Scream.
Scream.
That's
I
like
saw-
the guy with like the mask,
Yeah.
with like a droopy chin.
I always wanted to be him for
Oh.
Halloween, but I never got the costume. I was so sad. Every year when I was little, I wanted to be Scream.
No,
Or the
he
guy from
ruined
Scream.
Halloween for me. I was walking down the street to get candy from somebody's house, and a Scream, like 3 of them just started chasing me. And it was like, oh my gosh. I was like 5, like seriously? My mom was like, get him! And I was like, shut up! So,
Oh my god. So I guess the first thing I guess would be, this is obviously back in the 80s and 90s. There were a lot of slasher movies back then, like a lot of slasher movies. Everyone loved the bad guy running around with the knife stabbing the teenagers. That was really popular, and obviously now movies are different. You don't see as many of those. So obviously, Bailey, you're not a big horror movie person. But from what you've seen, trailers, things like that, and Aaron, from movies that you've seen, I know you and I saw Sinister, not together, but we saw Sinister like a week ago.
No, together.
Oh yeah, in the same theater. We flew to the same theater to watch Sinister. So how do you think horror
We didn't
movies
even
have
see each other,
changed?
sorry.
I know. How do you think the movies have changed? From what type of movies, the style and the feel, the mood. What kind of changes have you seen since those old movies back then?
Well, aren't the plots shitty now?
I think they're running out of
Oh
ideas,
my
to be
gosh,
honest.
Sinister 2 was so bad at the end.
It was really bad.
Yeah, like
Bailey.
it was so. The first one was okay, but the second one was so disappointing.
Yeah.
You
2
know what
out
I
of 10
think?
would not recommend.
All the suspense, but no actual like. There's some jump scares, but there's so much more suspense now than there was,
Mhm.
and there's not as much stabbing.
You like the stabbing, okay?
No, I don't. I'm just saying I like the suspense because I'm sitting here like shaking with my popcorn in my hand and
Oh, okay.
nothing happens. I was like, well, that was for nothing.
That's true. And then the other thing is, like, honestly, I genuinely feel like they're running out of ideas for stories for scary movies. Like you said, with Sinister 2, I didn't understand what they were going for at all. But so I guess for me, what I've seen is that obviously, yeah, we've seen a lot more slasher movies back in the 80s and 90s. Like, I remember the first scary movie I saw was Nightmare on Elm Street 2. And then after that, I think it was like The Ring, which was terrifying, by the way. The Ring
Wait,
scared the crap out of me.
Really? Like, was that like Scary Movie 3?
Scary Movie 3 is a parody
Or
of
was it the actual Ring?
It was the actual Ring, not Scary Movie 3. Scary Movie 3
My
is
first
hilarious.
one was Scary Movie 3, and the Ring like comes out of the TV, and that was this. No, my first one was actually Child's Play.
I hated Child's Play.
Like, seriously, I was just skimming through the channels. I was like, I'm not even kidding you, 5 years old. I was skimming through the channels trying to find like Nick Jr. or whatever, Nickelodeon Jr. I don't know what it's called anymore. It's been that long.
Nick at Night.
And
Nick at Not Night.
no, Nick Jr. Okay, stop. That's for teens. And all I see is I go to one channel and these guys are riding in a car, and then all I see is like a little puppet stab the hood of the car and go, "I'm gonna find you," and that was like that was it for me for a long time.
Yeah, The Ring was the one that actually traumatized me. But the thing is, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, that didn't scare me at all. If you've seen some of the later movies, they're more comical and they seem more like a parody than anything else. So for me, I think scary movies now are a lot more about like the suspense, like you were saying, Aaron, and the terror. You see a lot more of like demonic and cult movies. You see like Paranormal Activity 2 or 3, where it was like about with the grandma. She was in some sort of cult or something like that. I think we've seen that shift where it's gone from, hey, this guy's chasing and stabbing people, to now where it's just like, oh, you are possessed and you need to have an exorcism, or
It's
or
always
this
in
house
a house
is
now.
I can't
Yeah.
stand those
Yeah.
Exorcist movies.
really like they scare you, or are they
Like-
terrible?
I can basically look at gore. I can look at like jump scares. But like if you're watching an Exorcist movie or just like anything about that, someone being possessed, and then they start doing that thing where they're like breaking their own back. Like, I just like I can't do that. It's the worst to me.
Those are
The
actually my
Devil
favorite
Inside
type.
is the one that I watched.
Was that the one with the girl in the mental hospital?
Yeah.
I
yeah.
saw that one and it was really good, but I didn't understand the ending at all. If that's the movie
Those
I'm
are messed
thinking,
up.
what was messed up?
I hate jump scares.
Really? I love
You guys
see,
are like the complete opposite. This is why we're never gonna meet up and go to a movie together.
oh, this is gonna be
So,
great. Now I know what we
I
need
just
to do.
ended-
I saw of all the horror movies I have seen, which isn't a lot. I saw the Catacombs or something.
The one, oh,
You know where they're in France and they go into the
is that As Above, So Below? I think it's called.
yeah, that one.
That one I saw at a Netflix night at work. Oh my god, that was terrifying.
A Netflix night.
Oh, was it? No, Redbox night. Yeah.
I've also seen the one with the doll. It's called Annabelle. And I've seen all three Insidiouses.
Oh, okay. I've seen also all three Insidiouses. I haven't seen Annabelle, though. I will say Insidious is one of my favorite scary movies of all time. That legitimately terrified me, and I enjoyed it, too.
People
Like,
say that the first one is like a joke.
really?
That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, I don't know what these people are talking about. Yeah, Insidious is scary. So, Annabelle I never saw, but everyone I know that did see it said it was terrifying.
No, because it's a real, like, at the end, they actually show the doll in this church, like, in a glass case. And you know what's funny? That is the real picture of the real doll. And it's, like, okay, so real preachers go up to it 2 times a day every 12 hours and pray
Shit.
for it.
Oh
Like,
my
in real
God.
life in Europe. Isn't that fucked up?
That's
I hate to use
terrifying.
bad language, but that is messed up. And I looked it up online, and they're like, apparently it isn't 2 times, it's like 3 times a day.
Jesus,
Oh
that's
my
scary.
god, that's worse though.
Also, speaking of F-bombs, did you know that for a movie to still be able to rate it PG-13, you're allowed 1 F-bomb, and if you use any more than that, then it's automatically rated R. So you just use the F-bomb, Aaron, and so we're out of F-bombs. So
I thought it was 1 F-bomb per hour.
Is
Or
it per hour?
Something. Per something.
yeah, I did not
No.
know that.
Well, we're rated R now. Now kids have to hit I am older than 18 before they view this live stream.
No,
If I say
you
it one
said
more time.
If you said fuck, there you go. Now we're rated R.
No, stop! Oh my god.
We're rated R.
Shit,
It's
like
official.
5 times.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
wait. There's like a block out button on here though, the sound effects, so whenever you feel it, just hit it. and you're good.
So overall, would you say that like horror films in the past, which ones would you prefer to see? Are you more a fan of the slasher, or are you a fan of the movies that come out now? Obviously, you have better cameras, sound effects, and equipment, so quality-wise and technically, the movies are a lot better than what they were in the 80s. But in general, though, which do you prefer?
Well, I like quality, except the story sucks. So I kind of want to be like in 2005-ish.
2005.
You know?
What
That's
did
when like have you ever seen Sweatshop?
Never saw Sweatshop.
Seriously, like they take this long needle, right? It's like one of those things that you roast marshmallows with.
Oh God.
And it's like one, it's not the two. And she puts her hand out like this, and he takes her middle finger or her index finger, and he just shoves it down her finger, and you can see it come out of her knuckle.
Oh my
And
God.
that is, no, stop.
That's
There's worse.
That's terrible.
And
Yeah,
then there's
I'm
the
not
old
into stuff like
classic,
that.
There's the old classic where they like took the pot and the rat, and then they he nailed the pot to her
Oh,
stomach.
and Sinister?
No, there's the Sinister one, but this is like Sweatshop.
Oh, okay.
There's the one where they, and then the rat like dug. Yeah, they did that in Sinister too, didn't they? In the
Yeah,
church?
that's how they killed the family. In the spoiler alert, that's how they kill one of the families. But
Spoiler alert: the guy dies. Did he?
Is it? I don't know. Also, Alex says you're allowed one non-sexual F-bomb in a PG-13 movie. Okay. Oh, there you go.
Non-sexual, you guys.
Yeah.
So we're like, wait.
So
what goes after R? Isn't it like
if
80?
things turn a certain direction, then we're allowed to say it. But so I guess out of the genres that you've seen that you do like, you said that, well, like me personally, the ones that I would like to see stay popular and for them to make more of would be like the cult and demonic movies if they're made correctly. I feel like a lot of them get really similar, and the jumps, it's more like jump scares than story. Like I like a good story, even in a scary movie. So that's what I like to see, like continue with at least. So.
My favorite horror story is American Horror Story.
Oh, I hate you.
I have not seen American Horror Story.
I watched the first episode, saw those twins, turned it off, never turning it on again.
Those
I-
twins?
The stupid twins. I
have
don't
their
care.
bobblehead, the pop figure. Sarah Paulson's
Do you
my
have it
baby.
like near you?
It's in my room.
Oh.
Oh.
Damn, I have
to
yet
go
to
get
see
it, but
that
we're
show.
kinda in the middle of something. So.
We are live. I have yet to see that show, but I've heard good things. There's a lot of shows that I need to catch up on. American Horror Story, I've seen like 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, so I am very behind. Very behind on TV.
I like Breaking Bad.
I
Yeah.
watched all of Breaking Bad. All of it.
I watched all of Breaking Bad and Orange is the New Green.
Orange is the New Green? What?
Get
Orange is the
it?
New Black.
Because I said green and not black. Okay, sorry. No, but back on topic. Okay, so we all need to explain. I don't think I heard Bailey. Did you explain already as to what, like, old ones or new ones? Quality and shitty story, or good story and shitty quality?
Well, basically, so I don't really watch anything. I don't really watch movies, but what I do watch is things that I feel like I need to watch in order to get references. So, like, I've been watching Friends, I've been watching Scrubs, and, like, Arrested Development. I like trying to know the references, so I feel like I should watch older ones we're talking about.
That's true. That's definitely true. Although, for me, what I like to see is, like, if I'm on Twitter and people are talking about something that just happened and making references, I'm like, don't know what you mean, but yeah. So for me, I like to be kept up to date on, like, memes and things that are, like, trending, like, right now, so yeah, I'm more of a newer stuff kind of guy. Also, Casey asks, do you remember the Indiana Jones when the Beatles crawled up people's skin? I don't even remember that happening. I've seen every Indiana Jones, but I don't remember which one that is
And it
from.
wasn't Beatles. I think it was spiders.
That's gross.
Didn't that also happen in the movie The Mummy?
Oh no! You know what? It was like these little beetles with like pinchers on them, like the Mummy. I think that's what she's talking about.
It was
I
The
think
Mummy,
she's talking
huh?
about The Mummy.
It was the Mummy.
I used to love The Mummy. I don't even remember anything about it, but I remember when I was younger, I used to like it a lot.
Remember that one part
'Cause
of
I
the movie
know-
where the girl's like doing her hair in the mirror and she drops her brush and she bends down and gets it. She comes back up and there's a guy standing right behind her.
Oh shit! I don't even remember
fear
that.
every time I do something in my bathroom and I have to get back up and look at the mirror. I think of that scene almost every time.
I don't even remember. This is what, 2001 or something like that? I don't remember. But I guess with that kind of wraps up, at least for the movies.
It's
and
kind of like Ross, Joey, and Rachel, and Chandler, and Phoebe.
Phoebe.
It is Phoebe. Have you seen Friends, Aaron?
I've never watched. I just googled all the characters.
I've
PP was on stage with Taylor Swift like 2 days ago.
really.
You saw
Oh, was that at her show
Wait,
or was that on the
Yeah, Taylor
VMAs?
Swift show.
Oh, well, she was at Staples
she's
Center
really
all this
pretty.
past week. That's like 15 minutes away from me, or like 20 minutes away.
My
from
brother
me.
had me believing that Rachel or Jennifer Aniston drank from the fountain of youth, and that's why she doesn't look like she's 40-something years
Jennifer
old.
Aniston.
She is
I'm
so...
in a relationship with Jennifer Aniston. Oh my god.
No,
That
you're
is-
Well,
not.
people
Stop
from
bragging.
French, I think he looks the youngest now.
Anthony, we're talking
yeah,
about
That's true.
poking people in the fingers with needles.
Oh
and
no.
you're
I
talking about
wouldn't.
Jennifer Aniston. How do you?
You. Anyway.
I know.
Anyway. Yeah, that's movies. That got really off topic, but that was an interesting movie conversation. I guess with that, that's gonna wrap up the show. I think, guys, we've been streaming for 52 minutes now, so
Wow.
yeah,
It doesn't feel like 52 minutes.
yeah, that was
Time
yeah, it
flies
went by
when
fast.
you're talking.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna wrap up the first episode of the Page 8 podcast here, guys. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you for Aaron and Bailey for joining me with this. Let me know
problem.
what you guys thought, whether you're in the live chat or watching this on YouTube. This should be uploaded either tomorrow afternoon. If I'm feeling like pulling an all-nighter, it'll be up by tomorrow morning. But yeah, expect this to be a regular thing. We plan to do this at least once a month, so expect this to come up probably beginning of October, first week maybe. And we'll have to see when we can plan this out. Obviously, it's August 31st, but by the time this gets uploaded, it'll be September 1st. So you guys get the idea.
My Max is out tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
In
well,
Metal Gear.
Oh, I have good news for you though.
good news.
I told the the person who makes the schedule with me, I get every Monday off now.
Well, Monday is a good day then. We will
Except
shoot
I work
for the first
Fridays,
one.
but I don't work Saturdays or Sundays, so that's good.
That's a pretty awesome
I
schedule.
just work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So
All right, well, maybe we'll shoot for the first Monday of every month. We'll see what happens, like scheduling wise. So yeah, beginning of each month, if time allows for it and our schedules allow for it, I don't know what everyone else is up for. We might be able to do like a special episode every 2 weeks, maybe every once in a while. Not all the time, but we'll see if that's a possibility. So, but again, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. I can't see the camera. I was wondering what you were doing.
sorry.
Google
Sorry.
special
Sorry.
effects. That's cool. That's funny. So yeah, thanks for everyone who tuned in. Thank you for the support. We've been like promoting this and spamming this on social media. So this is a new idea. It's a new project. So thank you for everyone who tuned in, leaving comments, joining the conversation. And that's gonna wrap it up for today. So once again, thanks Bailey and Aaron for stopping by. Anything you want to say before we go? Or- No?
You guys.
Thank
are
you for
cool.
watching.
All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for today. If you enjoyed, a rating below would be very much appreciated. Also, don't forget to check out Aaron's channel, Bailey's channel. They're all awesome, so feel free to check them out and subscribe. So we'll see you guys next month. I got some videos coming out next week. Aaron and Bailey all make videos too. So very soon, if you want to see more of us, you'll get that. So
Thanks for having me, Nitro.
this was fun. This was a lot of fun. So episode 1.
Thank you, Nitro.
We're done, guys. So until next time, have a good one, and we will see you all later.